Is this thing on?
And we are live. Welcome back. Man, I feel like I've been gone for too long. We had to skip a show a couple weeks ago. We had some security cameras installed for the protection of Spoiled Life Live, right? You never know what's going to happen. You know, this is live, it's real, and it's raw.
We need security.
On Spoiled Life Live. You know, since then, we've upgraded cameras. We have security on hot standby just in case something goes down. We get attacked. You know, somebody attacks the camera, you know, or attacks myself or a guest. You know, they're just ready to go.
We got backup.
Yeah, at a moment's end, we hit this button down here, kind of like
they come running in.
Yeah, they come running in like the SEAL Team 6, right? I almost forgot where we're from. You know, we're in beautiful Corpus Christi.
Hey, it's rough everywhere, man.
Right? We're the home of the beautiful Selena statue, right?
Oh, yeah.
Which is heavily guarded as well.
Oh yeah,
They got like that guard around it, you know, you don't want to get too close. Whataburger, right? We're the home of Whataburger, you know.
The beginning of time.
Not the home of In-N-Out. You know, there's a big thing, people saying, well, you know, I like In-N-Out. You know, people like Whataburger. I'm more of a beefy burger. You know, I'm from Robstown.
Oh.
There's a beefy burger in Robstown. If you all haven't tried it, cruise in and check it out. I'm more of a triple meat, triple cheese.
Yeah. They got a lot more taquerias out there than burger joints for sure.
Well, there's one exclusive taqueria from Robstown. Forget what it's called. It's right next door to what used to be a McDonald's. They tore it down. I think they're building a new one right there on the corner of 44 and 77. But I guess they're gonna build a bigger McDonald's.
Yeah.
You know.
Hey, in my town of Aransas Pass, the taqueria is way outnumber the burger joints.
That's true,
too,
man.
Yeah.
Hey, they're it's not. I know y'all couldn't figure it out, but I am Hispanic, right? But that's not just my speed of Mexican food, the taqueria. I'm more of a Tex-Mex,
right?
Mexican.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like the whole. I do like enchiladas, right? But I like a meat sauce.
Oh yeah.
You know,
we're
my
spoiled down
enchiladas
here
and
in
stuff.
South Texas. I mean, we have the best Mexican food on the planet, and if you go far from South Texas, it's just never the same. So, you may have a bit of an attitude, a little jaded.
Oh yeah.
On the Mexican food.
Yeah, like I've privileged is what I would call it, right? The home of beautiful Royce Bait and Tackle, right? If y'all have not been in this store, cruise in. They have everything, whether you know how to fish or not. We have the staff to guide you in what to buy to keep you cool in the sun. Real sportswear, we got it here. They do not have any Karbach, but if I'm here, I got it. So cruise in, and I'd be more than glad to give y'all one. Drink responsibly, of course. Sarge Custom Rods. We have about every model there is that you could think of.
Oh, this is an amazing place, man. If you can't find it here, you don't need it.
Yeah. If it don't work, we got it. If it works, we have twice as much of it, right? That's what I spoke to a guy the other day, and what he does is he goes down the lure pegs, and whichever lure is missing the most, that's the lure he buys, right? I mean, that's pretty good.
Makes sense to me.
Unless they filled the pegs that morning, right?
There's a lot of theories out there, man, and I would do that.
Right? I have a few select colors, man, that there's a lot of people that reach out and be like, hey, well, can you try my lure out and just tell me what you think, you know? And okay, well, do you have this color? No, I don't. Well, you know what? I mean, your lure probably doesn't work, you know? I mean, I don't know. I just have that mentality that, man, if you got to have this color. But you know what? This show is not about me, right? Well, I could go on, but we might have a show later on in the year on who in the hell is Ram Garcia,
Hey,
You know what I mean?
I could host that.
When
show.
right,
We just changed places.
I bet when I reached out to you, you're like, man, who the hell is this guy just trying to bother me? And you look through my posts, and you're like, oh my God, I would love to meet this guy, and I don't even want to do a show on me. I'm just like,
It's like look like a cool dude to me, man.
right? That's what everybody seems to tell me. No, I'm just playing.
You look good on camera too.
You notice that I keep looking at myself right there just to make sure that it's not blurred or the filters don't go away or
I
nothing
thought
like
you
that.
would have a bigger screen.
Right? I got none other. Family. The Spooled Life family. I have none other that I consider an OG in the kayak community. I'm a kayaker at heart. Right? I do a little bit of wade fishing. I do a little bit of boat fishing. I went through a phase of surf fishing, right?
We all did.
Right in my high school years and stuff. But I'm a kayaker at heart, right? And I go through everybody's pages, and learn. That's how I started, was to learn, and what kind of kayak is everybody using, and what kind of kayak would benefit me most, right? But we're gonna get into that a little bit later on the show. But I have none other, guys. Well, hold on real quick. Right now, I want everybody to go up to the refrigerator. This is the time that I'm going to give y'all to open up a nice, fresh Karbach.
Ours are already opened.
Now they are, right? If y'all don't have Karbach, you must exit the show immediately, right? Watch it later.
Run down to the corner store.
Yeah, that's fine.
You'll be back in plenty of
Yeah,
time
that's
for the
fine.
good
If you
stuff.
want to cruise down to the H-E-B, to the Eckarts, to the Walgreens, and get you a 6-pack, right?
6-pack.
We don't want you to drink more than a 6-pack.
Of
Don't get too
another
excited.
street.
Mine's already overfilling, so I got to take a drink of it, right? This one's for you all, right?
Cheers.
Karbach Love Street Citrus. Nice and refreshing. There's some new ones coming out. We'll get to that a little later. And we top it off with some lemon lime twangers. Say that 5 times, right? Lemon lime.
You couldn't say it
lemon
once.
lime twangers. All right, so let's get started, man. Let's go ahead and get started. We got a lot of topics to go over. Of course, we got a lot of stuff to give away. We're gonna give away a big package because we missed the last 2 weeks ago show. There's gonna be a question, right? It's gonna be a question we ask, like usual, to the viewers. I don't like to give away stuff online too much. I do, right? But I don't like it too much because I feel like the winner is always somebody that's not online. You know what I mean? And he's just waiting for me to send him a message. Hey, guess what you won? So I give the good giveaways to the people that are online.
You got to be present to win.
Yes. Right. And you got to be paying attention.
Dedicated.
Like if it's the TOS test. We're taking a TOS test right now. Right. All right. So all the way from Not Corpus, because I want you to tell us, all the way from Not Corpus coming in, he probably came in on his paddle. We all know that nothing against the paddlers. We've gone into the motorized equipment, right? There's a few motors out there, a few good ones here at Roy's Bait and Tackle. Torpedo is here, Yakfish Pro Gear. They probably have a couple of different ones, several other ones that I don't remember, but those are the ones that pop into my head. If I forgot, don't get mad. Don't go delete my Instagram or never talk to me ever again. I forgot. You know what I mean? I've already taken one drink of Karbach, and y'all already know how I get, right? Why invite me if y'all already know how I get?
They're dropping off already.
They're already dropping off. Well, tune in next time, guys. There goes the hour. I got none other than a true OG to the kayaking community, Dean Thomas. Thank you so much, man,
Pleasure being with you
for
today,
coming out
man.
onto the show.
Thank you very much for the invite.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is the first time that we ever meet,
Yep.
actually,
In person.
right? In person.
Everybody knows everybody on Facebook.
Yeah, everybody is somebody, too. Everybody's a true OG to the kayaking, but you, for real, Or
and
like
it's crazy that
OG?
you say OG like that, because I have been doing this a long time, and 21 years full-time guiding. And the last couple years, as I walked into the fishing shows, like around Houston Fishing Show and stuff, people come up to me and they're like, OG, Slowride.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, and I was like, dang, I'm getting up there.
Right.
I've been around a while. But yeah, that term seems to pop up more and more often nowadays.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh man, I've been guiding in Aransas Pass, or all the waters around Aransas Pass, and we travel to a lot of other places too. It's not just specific to there. A lot of crazy trips over the years, but been guiding full time for 21 years. Started out, kayaking put me on the map. I was there in the evolution of kayak fishing when it first cranked out, and I always consider myself very fortunate to be a part of that evolution. It's like part of history now. We were having the conversation earlier about, kayaks that have been on the market forever, how things have changed, and a good subject that comes up in conversation is the evolution of motors and pedals and all those things. So I've been there doing it through all that. I am still old school style. I do have a skiff. I do trips out of the boat, all kinds of stuff. I consider myself an adventure guide. I mean, we do a lot of adventurous trips, man. We paddle for crazy distances some days, depending on the weather. So it's just been a blast. I'm very thankful for what I've had, to be able to have a career doing what I do. I get to spend so many cool days out there on the water. And another fringe benefit of my job is I meet great people, much like yourself, who share the the sport,
Right.
And clients that have been with me for many years become great friends. They become family over the years. For 20 years, I fished with their kids 20 years ago,
Right.
who've grown up, gone to school, gone to college, and they come back and fish with me as adults. So it's been a great run. It's been a good time, and always a pleasure. Love fishing with everybody that comes out with me.
Right. You do this full time, kayak guide fishing,
100%.
or is there boat
I have a
guiding
boat.
as well?
I do have a skiff.
Okay.
And so we do drifting trips. I have a lot of people that aren't physically capable of doing the kind of paddle trips,
Right.
and they want to spend a more leisurely day on the boat, and we do that too.
Because if somebody's gonna go on a guided kayak trip with you, it's a for real kayak guided trip. It's not a motorized. Kayak
we
guided
launch
trip,
from the
right.
road. Kayaks on the trailer. We meet at the shop. We go out to the launch spot. We set them on the
But you're gonna be pushing a paddle.
pushing a paddle.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
Cool. That's cool.
And it is challenging. It can be, but I've taken hundreds of people on their first kayak fishing trip because they want to learn about the sport and they want to do it safely. And so they come to a guide and they want to, many of them come to me and they say, fishing is great. I love to catch a fish. Most importantly, I want to learn how to do this sport. I want to learn what it's all about. And that is a big portion of what I do on the kayak fishing part. But it's a huge variety. Yeah, we do boat trips, kids, families, everything.
I'm gonna scoot this a little bit more front. If there's has there ever been a little war story? Has there anybody come in as a kayak trip and you just got to pull them back?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I've had people that were physically not capable of kayaking, and we go out there and we give it our best shot, but they find out that it's just not for them.
Right.
And in 21 years, I've really only had one trip that didn't even get off the bank. I mean, they just had zero balance, and even with the most stable kayak, it just wasn't going to work.
Yeah.
But we do get most people, tuned in. And I tell you, it always starts off shaky. It's a lot to absorb in a short amount of time. The first time you sit in a kayak, you have to get the feel for the boat. You get the feel for the paddle. And At the end of that day, though, I tell them all the time, I said, it's going to be rough at the first, but at the end of the day, you're going to be paddling like a pro. And
Right.
it usually works out like that. And then we have people that repeat, you know, they come back several times. Some people come once, they learn, and they come over here to Roy's, buy them a kayak, buy their own stuff. And that's another thing they come and do. You know, they want to learn what to buy, what to purchase.
Mm-hmm.
Because fishermen are crazy. They like to buy stuff. And you can spend a lot of money as experiments and realize you didn't get what you really needed or wanted. And so in the long run, that guided trip will save them thousands of dollars.
Oh yeah, I guarantee it.
Yeah.
Do you, me being a kayaker, there's a lot that you have to keep on the DL, right? You don't want to show off your backgrounds when we're posting, right? We don't want to give too much info because everybody will be there and they'll put their Patreon things up and they'll make money off your spot and stuff like that. So, you know, you skip 2 weeks before you even post anything. You know what I mean? Has there ever been a person that paid for a guided trip and you go the next week and they're there in their own setup and they're like, hey, Dean, you know, you're in my spot. You know, what are you doing?
I've had, and yeah, people will come back and try to duplicate that. But where you're fishing today is not necessarily where you're going to be next week.
Right.
The tide changes, the wind changes, everything changes. And so 20 years ago, man, I was out there, and a good friend of mine from Florida, Charles Wright, he was over here with me, and they were filming a little fishing show. And he saw where I was launching and how everything was going. And he's like, man, you're teaching everybody how to fish where you fish. Like
Right.
I was going to put myself out of business. He was kind of critical on that. And over the years, we've proven that that's just not the point. It's just not the situation. But it does change, and people will try to duplicate that, but then they learn it's not that easy.
Yeah,
it's
tough.
a daily grind. The advantage to knowing where the fish are and being productive is that you're out there every day. And so if you fish somewhere today and it doesn't pay off, man, you got to shift gears tomorrow. So just because you were there last week and you come back next week, none of this is etched in stone. None of this is automatic.
Right.
And it's a great a summary of what you do, but you still have to shift gears some days. And being in it for the long haul is different than coming down on weekends and being productive.
For sure.
So people will try to duplicate it, but it ain't easy.
Yeah. Why kayak fishing?
Man, the flats around Redfish Bay are shallow. They're ultra shallow. So in the beginning, like whenever I started my business, I started out in a skiff like every other guide around here. Back then, there were no kayaks on the scene. So I was always trying to get my boat into
No one had no idea what a kayak was when you started, right?
No, that was in, well, I don't want to give it away, but it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And so we might have that as a trivia question here
Yeah,
later.
that's what I'm
You
talking
never know.
about, right?
But I was always trying to get my boat into shallower and shallower water. I loved sight casting. I loved looking for fish
Right.
in ultra shallow water. And so the skiff would only go so shallow. And then once I discovered kayaks, it just opened the door to places that you couldn't get to. You couldn't get your boat there because it was too shallow. You couldn't walk there because it was too muddy. And it was just, once I realized that I could just float over all of that and get into areas that nobody was fishing. These were unexploited areas at that time. And it just opened up a whole nother world, especially of sight casting, tailing fish, seeing what you're throwing at. And it was just a whole new world for me. When I discovered that, I completely shifted gears, and I made a career out of it for 20 years.
Mm-hmm. The first kayaks that came out, what was your first kayak?
My first kayak was the Wilderness Systems Ride.
And they were called Wilderness. That was the first name?
Wilderness Systems, the manufacturer, and the model was the Ride.
Oh, really?
And the Tarpon 160 was on the market at the same time. And yeah, we were talking about the timeline, the history of kayaks. It's another interesting subject that I've been working on this week, on the origin of kayak fishing and what boats were actually out there and how they came into being and how ocean kayaks were adapted to fishing kayaks, and the ride was out there. So the ride was, it was designed for scuba diving, and it had the tank well, which is an interesting term. The tank well, that term to this day still refers to the compartment on the back of the kayak, and it was for a scuba tank. That's where it's crazy that the term survived to this long,
Right.
but nobody goes scuba diving off a kayak anymore, but the term exists, and that is what that boat was used for. And people started fishing in them, adapting them, and that was a big part of the game back in the early days. So there was no Facebook, there was no social media, there were message boards that people communicated on. Very archaic, but that is where ideas were exchanged. People were experimenting with different types of rod holders and crates to put in the back to stow your gear, and ways
It was
to
the milk
keep
crate?
fish.
Was it the milk crate back then too?
I still have milk crates stacked on the side of my shop. We still use them. We got some cool custom ones also, you know, that are aftermarket products specifically designed with compartments and hatches and rod holders and all that. But originally, you took a milk crate, you went and stole it from the back of the store. You got some PVC.
It's funny you say that. I'm more of a black pack kind of angler, but if you are looking for a milk crate, a taqueria is a perfect spot to get a milk crate.
My shop
they have
was,
thousands of them.
My
in
shop
the back.
is next door to the convenience store, so it worked out good for me too. But yeah, you took PVC, cut it off, zippy tied it into the
super
corners
well
of
built
the
too.
crate. Oh, it was the most durable thing.
Yeah, you
you've
can't
ever
break
seen.
one of them
No,
things.
I still got some 20 years old.
Yeah.
They've been in service forever. So yeah, back then people were communicating and they were sharing ideas, and that is where the evolution of kayak fishing started.
The wilderness ride.
Yep, that's
Right.
where it started. And then shortly after that, I got a Tarpon 160, and
No rod holders on it.
no,
My first kayak was a Cobra fish and dive, and it was a tank, right? It didn't have a rudder. It didn't have, of course, this is years. This is years from when you started, right?
Yep.
After, right? Maybe a way, obviously, right?
the Cobra fish and dive, very popular in those days though. Even in the early days, it was out there. Faded away over time.
Yeah.
But many of the guys in that era had the Cobra.
Is
fish and
Cobra kayak still around?
I don't know if they're still in
Right, I
business.
haven't
have
heard
not
anything
seen
too
one
much
that-
about them.
They may
But
have faded away.
you go from no rod holders, right? No flush mount rod holders.
No.
What did it? You go to the store, and you're gonna buy your wilderness ride. What does it have? Like when you go throw it in the back of your truck, what does it have?
It had nothing back
It had
in the
nothing.
day. No, I mean, and even back then, the crate did not fit
Oh, okay.
like nice and snug the way they're designed to fit now.
Right.
It was oval. It was rounded in the bottom. So you would take, I don't even think pool noodles were invented back then. but
Oh,
you would
really?
take, like some foam and put it underneath it and put bungee cords and hold it
Oh, okay,
in
yeah.
place.
To-
So it was
to
all
quiet
custom.
it
It was
down a little bit.
custom rigging. It was. I mean, everybody had their own ideas on how to
Yeah.
put stuff together. And I remember, so Texas Kayak Fisherman was the first message board that we were communicating on, and
So there was internet.
there was
already internet
and
at
there
the
were
time.
message boards,
Uh-huh.
but so now you go out with your phone. There were no iPhones, which is pretty interesting. I remember when the first flip
It's
phone
Nokia,
came out
right?
that had. So when you had internet at the house, your family had a PC at home where they
Dial
could look
up.
at radar. Exactly. And so you had your flip phone on the water. You pick your flip phone up, and you could call people at the house and go, "Could you look at the radar? There's a storm coming."
Oh,
I was like,
yeah.
tell me what's coming my way. I thought that was groundbreaking. I remember when I got my first flip phone where you could look at live radar on the little
Oh, wow.
tiny 1-inch screen.
Yeah.
So now you pull out your phone, you snap a picture, you put it on the internet instantly. Back then, you would take a picture, and there were hosting sites. It was called Tiny Pic. You would go and host your picture on another website, copy that link, come back to the message board, post the link to the message board, and then people could click on that and see the picture.
Oh, I would
So that
hate
is
it.
how we shared information. I had friends out on the East Coast in Virginia Beach. We used to travel out there for tournaments. I had friends in Florida where we would travel over there. And that network of those guys from Texas, Florida, and the Virginia Beach area, it was the beginning of time for kayak fishing.
I would have hated that because I'm pretty fresh to the Facebook scene, right? I've only been on Facebook, I don't know, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I want to say at least 5 years, right? I started on Instagram, right?
5.
Yeah.
Man, I got memories that pop up from 12 years.
Yeah,
back
that's
on
weird.
Facebook.
That's weird to me.
That's.
But I didn't do it because of just so much stuff. It's all easy now, but just so much stuff you had to do to post
I remember
something.
Whenever we moved from the message boards to Facebook, I was even resistant to that. I was like, what is this Facebook ever saw? But yeah, it's crazy to think of what we can do
Now
with our
everybody's
phones
got
now.
Facebook.
When you're out there on the water, you have instant weather, instant tide, instant everything. There's no mystery to it. So it did, man. It took a lot of the challenges. And I've told people, I said, back in the day, the only way to learn what was out there was to earn it. You
Right.
had to go and be there, and you discovered little secret spots. Had a dude one day get a little upset with me. I don't remember what the show was, man. I hope he ain't listening. It was called The Secrets
He
of
probably
the Bay.
is, man, because this is the sport life, dude, and everybody's on it.
There was a show. He was called The Secrets of the Bay.
You just
And it
made
was at a
us lose
tournament,
a viewer.
And he came over and he was doing a little interview, or he was asking me some questions. And I told him, I kind of made a joke. I'm like, man, dude, I said, there ain't no secrets out there anymore. I said,
Yeah.
it's all over the internet.
Yeah, Facebook happened, and now
kinda
everybody's
defamed his show.
everybody's a pro staff. Everybody's you could be anything you want on Facebook.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Oh, I learned plumbing and electrical and
Oh, yeah.
everything.
Yeah, you could literally. And that's nothing against anybody.
No,
right?
no, it's just
Right.
the way the world works. now.
Guys, don't get mad, right? Y'all already know that we're real and we're raw
Totally live.
and we're live. Capital letters live, right? But we're going to get that. I'm just going to wait because I want that. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good question to get into from the past. Don't get mad, right? It is the past.
Oh.
Don't get mad. Hey, you don't just get called the OG without getting everything else, right?
It's history.
Yeah, right. We're gonna get into the OG. We're gonna get into the new G, right?
You may have just coined a new generation.
There
man.
you go, man. I might be the new G, man.
It is.
I'll take it.
It is.
Right, I'll take it.
And there is.
As long as I get called something.
There
you know?
is another generation. I was saying this the other day, that from when I came up kayak fishing, just fishing in general, and guiding in general, there's a whole army of 20 and 30-year-olds behind me that were still swinging in their mama's baby arms. You know, when I
Yeah.
was out there running from lightning storms, wishing I had radar in my hand. So
That's what I was gonna say, man. I remember, I'm fixing to be 40, right? Here in a couple months.
I don't even remember when I was 40.
Right. Right. I remember taking trips and my mom with the map in her hand.
Oh yeah.
You know, and my dad over there, hey, well, you know, what is it, a right or a left? You know, where are we supposed to go? And my mom, you know, is just co-pilot, you know, just knew everything from that.
I have
that
a
map.
box of memorabilia from our Florida trips when we used to drive that have the Florida state maps that are marked out with the places. I mean, we would drive
really?
around with a paper map.
Yeah.
And I was over there navigating.
Nowadays, I would not be able to go anywhere. You forget your cell phone, you're lost. You're lost forever. You know, but I don't think like Houston, San Antonio, Austin, Dallas, I don't think they were developed as much as they are now, right?
No.
So you could get away with, okay, I'm gonna stop at the gas station, I'm gonna ask this dude over here, I'm gonna stop at the taqueria, pick up some tacos, and but before they give me the bag, I'm gonna ask them, hey, how far is?
You stop at the wrong store now, and they really never see you again.
Yeah, right. Exactly, man.
But no, it's amazing. The simple phone in your hand, how it has influenced fishing.
Yeah.
I mean,
You don't even need a depth finder anymore. You don't need it. Well, I guess you could. You would need it, right? But GPS,
GPS,
Cameras.
tide data, radar. You can look at it and see where your buddies were fishing yesterday, what they caught yesterday, actually what they caught this morning.
Yeah.
If you go to noon, it's like, damn, he's home already and he got a pile of fish already.
Yeah, I was just talking to a guy the other day about that.
What? Help a buddy out.
On one of the other media outlets. I'm not going to say your name. I'm not going to say what media outlet it was, but you could just see exactly where everybody was at. You know what I mean?
You use it for your advantage.
That's true. Tricks of the trade.
Hey, it's their fault for putting the picture.
Right. Hey, you know what? Let's drink to
OGs and
to
new
the OGs.
Gs.
To the OGs and the new Gs. Y'all know who y'all are.
Man, this Love Street is good.
Man, I could just drink it all day long, but I probably won't be able to go down the stairs here. I'll roll down them. Guide fishing, Slowride. That came from the kayaks, right? Slowride, or even the skiff. We're slow riding in the skiff too.
Slowride is a song by Foghat.
Oh.
And so this is another interesting story. So when I was growing up, I was a child of the 80s. I know that the new G's like classic rock. I was alive when classic rock wasn't classic yet. So we used to rock out the Foghat. Slowride was a cool song. I had some friends that passed away to horrible, unfortunate accidents at a very young age. So as a tribute to my friends that were no longer with me, I named my business Slowride Guide Services.
Oh, cool.
And the interesting twist of fate is that it was so appropriate for kayak fishing. Totally unrelated, but yes, as a tribute to those that were no longer with me, and because I felt so fortunate to be out there doing what I loved and, missing those guys horribly, I named my business Slowride.
Slowride.
That's how it happened.
Was it kayak fishing first or boat first?
It was boat first, but that was for a very short time. It evolved into kayak fishing very quick.
You knew you didn't want to be...
I didn't want to be like everybody else.
Right.
And you think the market is saturated with boat guides now, or just guides in general. Back then, and that's another, just speaking of guiding in general, when I started out, I had guys that were the OGs that were getting out of the business when I was starting. And as I was standing there, I would listen to these guys, and they were like, man, this place is crowded. You can't fish out here. They were complaining, and they're like, man, I'm retiring. I'm moving to the hill country. I can't take this anymore. And I was like, how could somebody have that kind of attitude? I mean, you get to spend your days out here on the water every day. And after 20 years of being on the water, I understand that sentiment a little bit more.
Right.
But they were a lot of guys that were at their point in their career of where I'm at that I knew and talked to. And it's really interesting now to look back at those conversations and, my opinion on things.
What do you think about all the guides nowadays? I'm not a guide, right? Maybe in the metaverse I will, but not right now.
Well, so when you go to places like Montana and up in the mountain country, it's limited entry because there's only so much space.
What do you mean? What do you mean limited entry?
There's a limited amount of guides in areas. So here in Texas, it's still unlimited. You can go to school, you go get your license, boom, you're a guide. Your brother can go get a license. Your mama can get a license.
Right.
And everybody is out there. The market is saturated with guides.
Yes.
And it's a subject that comes up in conversation a lot. Should we have limited entry? There's limited entry into the shrimping industry. Those licenses, they realized that there was too many people catching too many shrimp, and then they had to limit that. And so, it's an interesting topic on where that goes in the future if they do limit guide licenses that are sold every year. But there's a lot of them, and there's more every day. And boats are engineering works of art. They're very dependable. There's no place that's out of reach for boats. The GPSs are amazing. So the places that used to be far away and kind of forbidden back in the day, you cannot get up early enough in the morning. You cannot leave soon enough. When you get there, there's already 20 boats ahead of you.
Right.
So there's a lot of pressure on the resource, which, that's a subject to discuss. there's so many fish hitting the cleaning tables every day, you know, and there's only so much water. There's more boats, there's more people. I mean, look at the houses that are being built here.
Yeah.
From Corpus to Aransas to Rockport to Port Aransas. Every one of those houses is going to have a boat in the garage.
Yeah.
Every one of those people want to go out there and catch fish. So how long can the resource withstand the pressure?
Right.
States like Florida have already reached that capacity. They have completely closed season for fish. So when you go to Florida, there's a time of year when you cannot keep a redfish, you cannot keep a snook. You have to put it back in the water. And so they have closed season, open seasons, and you know, those are things that Texas is going to face in the future.
Right.
It's going to be an interesting progression.
How hard is it to get a guide's license?
It's easy.
It's
You
pretty
go
easy.
take the class, and yeah, you pass the class. You take your certificate. You go down to
How
Texas.
often do you have to recert?
It's every 5 years for the Coast Guard. You know, and there's a lot of levels of that. Like myself, you know, I'm even going to take a paddling class next week just to upgrade my skills. And you have to take first aid, CPR. There's a lot of things that go with that make you a much better guide that aren't required. One interesting aspect of guiding in Texas, there are certain requirements that you're required to have. Insurance is not one of them.
Oh, wow.
It still bewilders me to this day that you
Right.
can go out, put people on your boat, take off across the ocean, and you're not required to have any insurance for those people.
But you're liable for those people.
You're 100% liable.
But that's going to be out of pocket.
100%.
Wow.
It could bankrupt you.
Wow,
if
that's
something's-
crazy.
And it's, I mean, you know, being on a boat, on a kayak especially, you know, one slip, one trip, there's oysters, there's hooks, there's 100 ways to get hurt out there. And yeah, you can end up in the emergency room. Stingrays, you know, the list goes on of ways to get hurt. And so when you're out there shopping for a guide, the people that I know or that have been through bad experiences are the ones who call me and ask questions and questions
Right.
and questions. So they say, oh, you've had a bad day before. But if you are booking a guide, if you're calling somebody, if you're planning a trip, ask them the hard questions. If they can't answer them, move on to the next guy.
Right. You think, since you obviously have recertified your guide's license multiple times, do you think since the first time till now it has gotten easier?
It's the same.
It's
it
the
really
same?
hasn't changed. But you take a class, which, you know, you go spend a week in school. But if you're capable, if you're knowledgeable, I mean, you can take the test without the class. And if you pass, you go down and buy yourself
You
a
could
license.
take it without the class. Wow. You know, Captain Ram Garcia has a pretty good has a good ring to it, right? I don't think I would have the time. I've never wished, you know, it's tough, man, being a guide.
The one thing about guiding that I've seen over the years, many have attempted it, many have failed. There's a misconception to guiding. People are like, oh man, all you do is go fishing. What a life, how easy it is.
Right?
There is so much behind the scenes that goes into guiding. I mean, there's emails, there's phone calls, there's insurance, boat payments, management of a company. I mean, if you're going to run
Yeah.
a business, you're doing record keeping. There's all that goes with it. And then you still have to produce fish. I mean,
Yes.
and then if you don't catch fish,
They're not
that's
coming
pretty
back.
much the end of that.
Yeah.
So
man.
people see what they see, but behind the scenes is very challenging.
Well, I disagree with the catching fish part. I've always thought if I was going to do a guide, if I was going to be a guide, right, it was going to be Mr. Thomas calls me and says, hey, Ram, you know, I want to go on a trip with you. Okay, well, here's the deal, Mr. Thomas. We're going to be friends, right? Forget about catching fish. You're coming over here, you're going to give me $600, and you're going to leave here with a brand new friend. And I'm going to feed you some sandwiches, and we're going to drink some Karbach, and we're just going to be friends, man. Forget about catching fish.
And
You know?
that's part of the game too.
Right?
I mean, that is, I mean, you're going to experience a lot of tough days.
That's what I like to see is the experience, man. I'm going to give you money. I want you to put me on something that I've never seen before, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
Talk to me. You know, hey,
Well,
we're coming over here. This is why we're coming here. You know what I mean?
My game is a little bit different than 90% of the guides out here, because I guide with lures and I guide with fly fishing, and that's not going and dropping anchor and throwing some dead bait and waiting for a fish to come to you. So people want to talk about lures. They want to talk about some of this stuff that we're going to talk about today. That's what they come to learn about. Types of lures, modification of lures, colors, scents, action, and technique, and conditions. I mean, there's a lot of variety in that game.
So they leave with something.
Oh yeah.
You know, to benefit. You know what I mean? To benefit themselves.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yep.
What do you say we give something away?
People like free stuff.
Man, I love free stuff, dude. I don't think I'd be able to be where I'm at right now without free stuff.
You need to give away some of them double cheeseburgers from the from up there in Robstown.
From the Beefy Burger, right?
Yeah.
Man, I don't think they would fall for that. But we could try. I'll reach out to them. We're gonna give something away for the viewers. The Cowboys are playing, right?
Not yet.
Not yet. 3:30. Well, they're on right now. They're about 10 minutes in. Guys, we already know the outcome of that.
I know there's a lot of Cowboy fans on here today.
Y'all don't know the outcome of Spoiled Life Live, right? Y'all know the outcome of the Dallas Cowboys game.
If you saw last week, you're probably watching tennis or golf right now.
Right. We're going to give something away. Thomas Bulger just joined.
Oh,
so he's probably not going to win.
What's up, Tombo?
Right? But hey, Thomas is another OG.
So
right?
Way back, he is one of my original kayak fishing buddies from the first day I opened up. He used to come and hang out at the shop with
Really?
me. Oh yeah. Tombo.
He's
TKFer.
Yeah, TKFer for sure.
Original first 12 members.
What was your TKFer name? Slowride. Okay, cool.
It's been that long.
Right. That's probably when everybody said, when you can choose your name, you could be whoever you want.
And that was
you could be like RoboCop. Right. You know what I mean? Anybody.
Yeah. See, on Facebook, nobody can hide behind nothing because you got your name on there. Back in the day, everybody had their funny fishing name.
Yeah,
on
you didn't even know who it was.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Tom Bulger, he was Tombo.
Oh yeah. Well, we still know him as that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tombo.
Something stick.
He couldn't hide. He can't hide. You know what I mean? All right. So first person to tell me, I'm gonna set y'all up with a Spoiled Life Live swag pack, and y'all already know that those swag packs are the real deal, man.
Dang.
You know what I mean? First person to tell me. You ready? You ready for this?
Sure.
First person to tell me what Mr. Thomas's first kayak was. Everybody's just scrambling, man, pressing that rewind button, just rewinding this show right now. First person, Mr. Thomas's first kayak. We've said it about 30 times.
If they don't get this one, they got the mute button on.
We gotten several in. It's always the same people that win on this show. Austin Matthews. He's going to tell me not to send it to him. But I'm going to send it to you, Austin, because you know what, guys? We send it to the people that are on point on here. And, guys, I have to tell y'all, all right? This goes off my internet speed, okay? Somebody's going to send me a screenshot. Hey, guess what? I really won. You know what I mean? It's right here. Austin Matthews Ride.
See, this is what the OG does when he has to read.
Yeah, Wilderness Ride. Let me point it out to you.
Cool.
Right? Wilderness Ride. Austin Matthews.
I can't read it.
You are the winner, man. I might just give away something else, guys. Man, y'all know I love to give stuff away on the show. We're glad that we have the sponsorships we have for the show to give away all this stuff. Go and give them a follow as well. Moving along. We're almost out of time. Water etiquette. How do you feel from the beginning until now, how the water etiquette, a lot of people don't know the safety stuff coming into kayak fishing, you know?
Well, the etiquette on the water is just absolutely horrible nowadays. I mean, it is, the waterways are congested. So when I was a kid, if you want to go back to the previous time when I was a kid, like fishing with my dad, when you were out there on the water and you passed another boat, you give them that friendly wave. To this day, you know, I try to bring back the wave, man. I wave at everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, what's up? But back in the day, there were no cell phones. You had maybe a VHF radio, but those were limited. So the wave meant I'm okay. Because there was a camaraderie amongst boaters on the water, and you looked out for each other. And if there was ever a boat broken down, or if you saw them with the cowling off, you took that responsibility to go help them. You would leave no boater behind. I mean, It was a camaraderie amongst people that was like a club, and you looked out for each other. Nowadays, boats are engineering works of art. They're very dependable. I mean, you can count on them to get you to 9 Mile Hole and back. And you have a cell phone in your hand that you can call for help instantly. And you got Towboat US insurance. And you got everything else to protect yourself. So nobody counts on anybody on the water anymore. And so that camaraderie does no longer exist.
Right.
So people will run over you, they'll run through you, they don't want to count on you. But the etiquette on the water, it's hard to explain how it's evolved. Back in the day, there were certain unwritten rules. You didn't run across the flats, you didn't run across the areas where people fish. You go upwind and you drift into those areas, and you would give other boats space. You would never go in front of a person that was fishing. And now, I mean, you could be on a drift with the shoreline 100 yards beside you and 5 miles of open water in front of you, and the boats will just run within 100 yards every day.
Especially kayaking.
And so people see, kayakers get less respect than anybody else out there, because what are you going to do? You know, they just look down on you. Wow.
Well, there's a couple things you could do, right?
Oh yeah.
But that's part two.
Changed.
We'll get that in part two.
It has changed for sure. The lack of etiquette on the water, it's crazy. People will come and they'll stop. They see you hooked up. They come and stop. They'll fish, and just 5 minutes, nothing happens. You just blow out of there. But it is people duplicating other bad behavior. It's contagious. They see other people do it, and then they think it's the way it is.
Yeah.
And I'm involved with a group that's Flatsworthy. It's a group of guides we formed. It's a conservation-minded group, but we're based on, it started out as promoting ethics on the water. And as much as we try to get the word out, it's hard to just compete with the common culture of the fishing world. And people duplicate bad behavior, and it's
all over the music too. Some country singer says to go blow a shoreline or burn a shoreline or something like that. I mean, I don't know, right?
And that's
earlier on in the show.
Just constantly bewilders me how people will come onto a flat and just circle and circle and circle and hit the shoreline and run the shoreline and have zero intentions of stopping and fishing. And you watch them do that, and then they just head for the horizon.
Yeah.
And how are you going to catch a fish going 30 miles an hour?
Yeah.
Park that thing, put some effort into fishing. But yeah,
I think they're more in it for the boat ride. You know what I mean? I guess.
Well, they want to catch fish, because you can go ride the boat in the channel.
Yeah.
If you want a boat ride, go cruise in the channel.
Yeah.
Go out and see the lighthouse.
Yeah.
And see the sights.
Yeah.
But to run the ultra shallows, to blow through the grass, through the seagrass beds, it's the worst behavior out there. And during the summer, it's crowded, and there's people who come from all over. And whether it's a lack of, I don't think they're just doing it to be rude. They just really don't know. They just really don't understand. They see other people doing it, and boats run shallower and shallower. The technology is amazing. It lets them do it. So During the summer, it's even worse. I mean, Monday through Wednesday might as well be Saturday. There's tons of people on the water. But now that we're at the
you
end
see
of
that
summer,
too during the week?
oh yeah, during the summer, every day is Saturday. But
Really?
now that school has started and dove season starts, and then people start thinking about deer season, there's fewer and fewer people on the water, and it's amazing how the fish respond to less traffic.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it happens quick. I think the fish get tuned into the boats. I think they are evolving with the people.
Yeah.
They understand
the
what
pressure
that
and stuff.
noise is, and they go hide, and as soon as that pressure goes away, they can go back to their normal business. But the etiquette on the water, I don't know where that's going to end, because there's always going to be more boats, there's always going to be more people, and there's only the same amount of water. They're not making any more water.
Can we blame the etiquette on media?
Yeah, I mean, you could blame it on advertising. You know, they show the boats running in ankle deep water,
Right.
and they want to sell that boat, and you know,
I want to go try it. I want to go try that. You know, can I
mean,
really do that?
you can just blame it on the culture. You know, the common culture.
Yeah.
It's just it's the way it's evolving. You know, we do our best. We try, and so the people that fish with me, you know, I'll discuss that with them. It's like, you know, that's a horrible move. You know, that's just a bad way to treat other boaters. But you know, you're not going to change the world.
Right.
But we're going to try.
Yeah, for sure. Upcoming anglers that want to be. I've had multiple conversations with multiple people about pro staffs and sponsorships and stuff like that, and I want to be this and I want to be that, and I want to do all these great things and whatever, right? How do you feel, you being the OG that you are, right? How do you feel from the beginning? Wilderness, you're obviously on the Wilderness team, right?
Since the beginning of time.
Shimano team.
Shimano.
AFTCO team.
Costa
Sunglasses. Since the beginning of that, when it all started, right? No media attention. It's not easy as I'm going to go put down AFTCO. I'm going to go put down Wilderness. I'm going to go put down Shimano, and I'm done, right? Y'all got what y'all wanted from me. How do you feel that has changed from now to where it is like that? To where, okay, I just have to post on Facebook and Instagram, and I'm done. You know, the whole term pro staff, right?
Well, if you want to work more than one season, you're going to represent at a higher level. And these companies expect a return on their investment. So they're going to invest more in a guide or a representative. You don't have to be a guide. You can be an avid angler out there that works really, really hard, that companies will support.
Right.
But there is more sponsored quotation pro staff that will, and I have to choose my words carefully sometimes, they will sell their soul for a t-shirt.
Yeah.
And so there's levels of sponsorship. There are levels of return on that investment. So the companies are going to invest more deeply into people that they know are going to represent their company at a higher level.
Right.
And there is a lot. I think that is, I don't know if it's calmed down a little bit. There was a couple years ago, it was just crazy. Companies would throw t-shirts and hats at people, boom, on pro staff.
Yeah.
I mean, and
so that's happened since the beginning.
Yeah. And they go out and they call themselves pro staff. And it's a bit of a misrepresentation, but it's just a product of advertising. And if these guys will go on the internet and they'll call themselves pro staff and they put that t-shirt they got on,
right,
and there they go. Or, you know, and so there's levels of that. You know, I pride myself on my sponsors. I work very hard for these guys.
Right.
But they understand the level that I perform at, and it's a tough game. But there's a lot of people who want to go out and be in that game, and I wish them all in the luck in the world. When I started out, man, whenever there was a new guide or a new teammate or somebody on the scene, I was like, man, this dude's coming after my job. It's like, this is competition. Now, when I understand the challenges that they're going to face, I pat them on the back. I wish them all the best in the world. It's like, good luck. Come and see me in 5 years and tell me how that worked out for you. Yeah. So it's long-term goals, and it ain't easy.
Yeah. When I first started, there was a lot of people that didn't give me the chance because I wasn't a guide, right? That was before the pandemic of guides, right? Now, I mean, I could have gone and gotten my guide's license, right? I mean, Captain Garcia, all right.
It's got a ring to it.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Captain Garcia's guide service, leave here with a friend. You know, that's the motto, right? Yep. But of course, I'm busy. You know, I'm busy with the show. You know, I'm busy with life. You know, I'm busy with family. It's not for everybody. It's a big deal. You know what I mean? Some people get it just for the title, right?
Yeah, you sew your name on your shirt, and
you get a Columbia shirt and you put your name on there. You know, you go to Academy and you spend $19 on a Columbia shirt and you put your name on it, and you know you go.
Business.
Yeah, you go to Brewster Street when some country starts playing, and you get a whole bunch of business like that, right? And then you don't catch nothing, right? I get it, right? I get it. But the influencer, right? The influencer, I feel, it's like you said earlier, you know, there's different stages in the influencer. You know, how much a return, at the end of the day, it's all about how much that company is going to make. They want to make money. It's a business. They're not bringing you on because, hey, guess what? I might make a couple bucks from this dude. You know, he's on Instagram. He tags me. Here's a shirt, right? I feel it has to be a two-way street. Mr. Dean's going to push me. I'm going to push Mr. Dean. And we're all going to grow together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And the influencers are a whole different twist on the promotional game. You know, they do get a lot of exposure, and there's ways to make that work for you. So there's some great anglers out there. I mean, there's some really dedicated fishermen that live the lifestyle, and that's the difference. I mean, that's the word I tell people all the time when they're asking me. I say it's a lifestyle, man. If you're not living it, if you're not for real, people see through that. You're not going to fake anybody out for very long. I mean,
right.
They will, and then once you get identified as, you know, trying to trick somebody, you know, then you get labeled a trickster.
Oh yeah.
And then you don't overcome that. So it is a lifestyle, and if you live it, and you
you have to be for real.
It's a passion.
It's got to be for real, man.
You make sacrifices. I mean,
nowadays you can identify as anything you want. You know, right?
Exactly.
What is more important while redfish fishing? Presentation or color?
Good question. So, depends on where you fish and the water that you're in. The water that we fish in, Corpus Christi, Redfish Bay, Laguna Madre and such, is very clear. So the colors, so the fish are going to see what they're chasing. The fish are going to see what they're biting. It has to look natural. It has to represent what they expect to see. So I really do throw colors that are white. When a fish is looking up at another fish or chasing a fish, the bottom of every mullet, every shad, every fish that swims out there, the belly of it is white. So when they look up at a topwater, when they see white, it's what they expect to see. There's contrasting colors, and believe me, guys, don't come at me because you ask 10 people, you're gonna get 10 opinions. You know, don't get mad.
Don't get mad.
It's just my opinion. So I like natural colors in the clear water. If you go to Galveston or even Port O'Connor's kind of in between. They have a lot of dirty water, things that are dark, black lures, gold, things that put a lot of flash, and they can see the profile and they can see it in darker water is very important.
Right.
I have friends in Galveston that I compare notes with all the time, and it is a very different game than fishing that marsh up there in the muddy water,
dirty red
and
water,
the crystal clear flats that we live on.
Yeah.
So even though it's a really short distance, it's very different. But the presentation varies every day. I mean, some days they want it slow. Sometimes they want it ripping across the water. You have to mix up all of those casts and figure out what they want that day.
Yeah.
So, yeah, none of this is etched in stone. It's not like today, this color is going to go out there and I'm going to walk the dog and I'm going to get the hits. Today, so I fished this morning and it was super high tide, like a foot above normal. Beautiful, crystal clear water. You could see every fish swimming around. And today, they wanted that thing just bouncing slow on their face. And you could watch them kind of start looking at it, swimming around it, and there'd be 2 or 3 together, and one of them would just pow. And if you ran it through there too fast, they would just disregard it. They just swam on about their business. So it's one of those things you figure out every day.
What lures are you throwing?
The Super Spook Junior.
Super Spook Junior.
Yeah.
Top water.
Top waters.
Right.
And so that's the flats that we fish on here. I mean, we live in ultra shallow water. When we're talking about, styles of kayaks and that, you want something that's going to float in inches of water, and you're always going to see the fish you're throwing at. You want it to look natural. It's just the area we live in.
Right. When you're sight casting fish, you're still throwing a top water.
Yes.
Really? Okay, that's.
I will mix that up a little bit. I mean, there's soft plastics, and so I'm a top water aholic.
Really?
And I'll throw them.
You're throwing the Spook. When you say top water, you're throwing the Spook.
Spook Junior.
Okay.
And I modify those too. Man, I take the trebles off and I.
Hey, we don't want to give too much.
I take the trebles.
We're gonna
off and push
give that to
hooks.
our Patreons. I'm just kidding.
We fish in the grass, and we release a lot of fish. So, but I do fly fish. That's how that happens. So
you fly fish too?
I fly fish a lot.
And that's on your guided trips as well. They could say we want to go on a guided trip.
For sure.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I guide fly trips. So we catch a lot of fish on one single hook on a fly, one little hook.
Right.
We catch a fish. So the trebles on the top waters, I cut them off and I replace them with straight hooks. It eliminates the grass. If you're releasing fish, trebles get hooked in their eyes, their gills, the abdomen. It just can really hurt a fish. So when you want to release, it works good. But mainly for swimming it through the grass, straight hooks don't get snagged. So we make modifications. But throwing the top waters is always going to be my first choice. If you get fish that follow or they blow up, they'll come up. A topwater agitates fish. I mean, they are going to do something. They're going to come and look at it. If they don't hit it, then we follow up with a soft plastic, a paddle tail, something that's going to hang on their face for a minute, or you can drop it on the bottom, twitch it a little bit, give them more time to think about it.
What paddle tails are you throwing?
K-Wigglers.
White.
I will mix that up a little bit.
Depending on water clarity.
And contrast is what's important to that.
Right.
The contrast is what they're going to see. No matter what color the body is, it's always going to have a chartreuse tail.
Oh, okay.
They're going to see it. But we rig them weedless. You have little twist lock hooks where you can hide the barb in there. We fish in very deep grass. So there's a lot of modifications that go with the soft plastics too. But the paddle tails, you just throw it, you swim it through there. That little tail is pumping some vibration in the water. You slow it down, you let it sink on their face, and then you get it. Just try something different. But that's kind of a backup to the top water.
Yeah. I like a top water every now and then. First thing in the morning, before the sun's coming up.
See, another common misconception. People tell me, like, well, how long are you going to stick with this top water? It's about where I fish. I'm on these ultra shallow flats. These fish aren't coming from the depths to eat that thing. It's in their face. I mean, if you're in 1 foot of water, this fish is going to see that lure. It's what they expect to see. So I stick with them all day.
Oh, really?
All day, to the heat of the day.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
So Friday, we were out drifting. We were fishing, had a nice little trip. This storm came through. We were going paddling the shorelines, looking, and storm came in, so we pulled over and parked and just sit there and watched it for a while. And it got to be like 1 o'clock. We actually launched pretty late that day, kind of an afterthought. And so we were going across the wide open flats in the middle of the day. It was probably 1:30, almost 2 o'clock. And I said, we're just gonna set up a nice long drift and we're gonna throw topwaters across there. And man, we just hit this one stretch with about 200, maybe 300 yards. And man, they were just destroying that topwater. So it's more about where you're at and timing than the light.
Right.
But I throw them all the time.
Man, I've never tried that to say, it's more of a habit to me. You know, okay, it's time to put the topwater up.
No such thing.
And search for fish. 99% of the fish I catch, I see. Right? And I've never thought about throwing the topwater to a fish that I see. Right?
Do it all the time.
I'm going to try that next time.
But you have to lead that fish.
For sure.
You can't throw it on his head.
Yeah.
You can't hit it. You figure out which
Unless
direction
you're trying to
it's
snag
going, and you lead that fish.
Right.
And then, so nothing's going to swim up to a redfish to commit suicide. If you throw it behind it, or if you run it up to that fish, it's completely unnatural.
Yeah.
That fish is never going to see a mullet come swimming up to a redfish.
Yeah.
Committing suicide.
We talked about that on the last show on jig heads, right? So there's thousands of jig heads you could buy. If you go to the Roy's jig head aisle, there's about 100 jig head styles.
Colors, everything.
Yeah, colors, from colors to rattlers. You know, if I was a bait fish, and don't get mad, nobody get mad, right? This is just Ram Garcia's opinion that doesn't matter, right? Y'all come buy it and try it out in y'all's waters, right? In my waters, right? Which I know every single redfish that's there. I would feel that if I give an aggressive presentation to a redfish, that would be unnatural, right? If somebody were to come up the stairs and attack me, I would go hide, right? I would let Mr. Dean take care of him. I would go hide, and I would make the least amount of noise as possible, right? So I wouldn't want something to make an aggressive gesture to these redfish to make them come after me, right? My opinion.
They'll run away from it.
Right?
It's a true story.
Right? What jig heads do you use on your paddle tails? The K-Wiggler jig heads?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
really?
And it's, I go with a very light, like an 1/8 or a 16th ounce.
Right.
Very light.
Yeah.
And it gives it more natural action. You tie it on with a loop knot where it has all the freedom to turn and spin around. And you want it to look natural. That's the best way to describe that. You want it to look like what they see every day out there.
Yeah.
And then you'll get a better reaction out of them.
Mr. Ted Greer is going to send us some topwater flies.
Ted Geyer, my buddy.
Ted Geyer.
You
there
talk
you go.
about OG.
He's an OG as well?
So Ted, in the very beginning, in the early days, would come and we'd sit down in my shop. So Ted taught me one of the favorite flies that I still tie to this day is a spoon fly.
Oh, yeah.
Ted was an innovator of the spoon fly back in the day. So now
I need a spoon fly made of a Karbach logo off an aluminum can.
Yeah, we could cut that.
You think Ted can handle that?
100%.
Really?
So we used to take, now they have these little patterns pre-cut. It has evolved into,
oh, it's easy
you
now.
know, you just open up the kit and put it together. Ted used to take, the thing about fly tires is that they're very creative, man. They take all these different materials and they put it together and they create this natural thing. I mean, back in the day, so there were the little acrylic fingernails.
Oh, yeah,
Girls
yeah.
glue on their fingers.
Yeah.
They would take the fingernails and sand them into the shape of a spoon, glue that to a hook.
Yeah.
We would take, actually, so the bottom of this aluminum can right here, we would create these little spoon fly patterns out of the aluminum. And you
Oh,
would
wow.
buy a sheet of Mylar and you hold that pattern down on the Mylar and you would trace it out with an X-Acto knife.
Right.
Then you take that little pattern, lay it on the hook, tie that to the hook, add a tail and some flash.
There you go.
Got you a spoon fly. So yeah, my buddy Ted has been doing that for a long time.
That's amazing, man. That's some good stuff too.
Man, we got a bunch of OGs.
Yeah, we're actually in talks. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say it, but I'm going to, because this is real and it's raw and it's live. We're actually in talks of a fly seminar here at Roy's Bait and Tackle.
Dang, I'd be in on that.
Yeah, and it's gonna be pretty cool. We're gonna get a bunch of Karbach and we're gonna tie a bunch of flies, and you know, everybody's gonna be friends with each other and stuff like that.
That was one of the next videos I'm going to create, is going to be my 3 favorite flies and how to tie
Well, we don't want to give them too much on that.
No.
We're headed that direction, Mr. Dean. All right.
No, that's but the fly selection. Fly fishing is a whole nother world.
Oh man, there's thousands.
There's
even more than traditional lure
the
fishing.
tires
Right?
over the years that have influenced me. Amazing what I've learned. And to me, I tie. My flies are very utilitarian. It's because I have to sit down and tie some flies. There are people who will sit there and never go fishing and just love to create flies. They love to find new materials and experiment and make these amazing creations. But yeah, it's a whole nother world, and it's a lot of fun. And it's crazy to create something and then take it out there and catch a fish with your own creation.
Thomas Bolger says, "What about the AGs? You're an OG. What about the AGs?
Ancient?
The ancient." I want to hold off real quick, and I want to taste. You don't have one, but I want to taste the new margarita. This is the new margarita Karbach cocktail. This is coming in with recycled materials, right?
What?
A 9% alcohol content, right?
Dang.
So be careful on this, guys, right? If this is all we were drinking today, we'd be rolling down the stairs.
I'm taking an Uber home after
Yeah,
this.
we'd be taking an Uber home. State troopers be waiting for us out the door, you know, stuff like that. But we drink responsibly here, guys. So calm it down, right? We're gonna give it a taste. Mr. Dean doesn't have one, but he's gonna give us an update on his Love Street Citrus here in a bit. And of course, we're topping it off. Here I go again. I already messed up the first one. Lemon Lime Twangers Classic, right? Another local, right? Not local to Corpus, but local to San Antonio.
Hey, that's close.
Yeah, pretty close. Here we go.
There's probably somebody from San Antonio checking in today.
Damn tasty. I'm getting like a lemon lime flavor.
And I believe Karbach is brewed in Houston, Texas.
Yeah, they're the home of the Houston Astros, and they're the home of Spooled Life Live.
Dang.
Right? That's pretty something to be excited about. You know, Karbach is very. They should be very proud that they're part of Spooled Life Live.
Oh,
Over there at a Karbach, right?
it's an exclusive club.
Guarantee it. Hello from San Antonio, Henry Stokes
Henry
is from
Stokes.
San Antonio.
That's another OG.
Another
for
OG.
sure.
We're bringing in all these OGs
Yep,
into
yep.
the
Me and Henry been
into the
around
life.
many years. One of my best buddies.
One more question. We're over, but we do whatever the hell we want here at Spoiled Life Live. So we're over. Everybody's giving us bad looks down there. Like, hey, I don't want to work overtime. You know, we're closing already. Leave the key. We'll lock it up. How do you feel how bad the 2021 freeze was?
It was devastating. I mean, there's no doubt. There was so many dead fish in my neighborhood. When I saw
This is in Aransas, right?
Oh yeah, in Redfish Bay. Whenever I saw the fish that were dead on the flats, I thought we were out of business. I was like, "There's no way this is gonna work." But what has happened? What I've learned over the progression of that, some areas are recovering faster than others. We are fortunate enough to have this cut at Packery Channel and the pass at Aransas Pass with a major migratory path for fish to come and go through. So it breathes a lot of life into these areas. Areas that are landlocked like Matagorda Bay and other places that are a long way from the passes are having a slower recovery. But
Right.
where we are, because we have water flowing in and there's fish that migrate through those passes, it is replenishing those areas quicker. But, you know, it still takes time.
Right.
And if we have a mild winter this year, it's going to be great. And then if we have another mild winter next year, we'll be right back where we were. But
Right.
it was devastating. The amount of fish that I saw dead, I just couldn't believe it. Just thousands and thousands of fish. Every square inch of the bottom of the bay had dead fish on it.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Do you think the doing away with 5 trout to 3, our measurement system, our new measuring system that we have, was a good idea?
Some conservation measures were a good idea. I would have done it differently. I would have kept that limit smaller. Instead of going from 17 to 23, I would have kept it in the lower range and maybe maxed it out at 21, because those 23-inch trout definitely are spawners. But I do understand the position that Texas Parks and Wildlife is in. They have to balance. They want people to still go fishing, and they want them to be happy and catch fish.
Right.
And they want to conserve in a certain amount too. But definitely lowering the limit. I mean, don't get mad at me, people. I feel the pressure already. Many people will disagree with that, but that if they wanted to lower the amount of fish from 5 to 3, okay, but the keeper size should have stayed, my opinion only, in the lower range. And then that way people are keeping fish to eat that aren't spawning and aren't reproducing. And then as time goes on, hopefully the numbers will promote going back.
Mm-hmm. Here's a trick question. Not too much of a trick question, but you know, we know you had already 2 Karbach, so it's not going to be too much of a tricky one. When you bring in these guided trips, do you promote the catch and release?
Absolutely.
See, if I were to get a guide, it's expensive, man.
Mm-hmm.
Even
Hey,
me.
it's cheaper to go buy fish at the fish market, though.
Yeah.
If you want fish to eat, go buy them at the store.
Go to Long John Silver. You know, go buy. I'm all for catch and release.
Fillet o fish.
Yeah, right. Get it at Whataburger. You know what I mean?
So here's what I tell people. And if you want to keep 1 or 2 or 3 for dinner, absolutely. But if we're having a killer day and we're just like putting fish in the cooler, once it gets to that point, then I'll recommend, it's like, hey, y'all guys want to let a fish go? Maybe release 1 or 2. And then I put I let them know how important this fish is.
Right.
You let this one go next year, you catch it again.
Yeah.
And so I do promote catch and release as much as possible. And I have built my clientele over 20 years that understand my philosophy. When you have a guide that you work with, you build a relationship. You were talking about that a minute ago, like it's family.
Yeah.
And you come back and back. They understand. And if they want to load the cooler, if they want to do the meat haul, I tell them, I say, I'm not your guy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I'll give you a phone number to somebody who that's their philosophy.
Right.
So in my guide business, I do promote catch and release.
And that's
but
to all the
I also promote
species.
enjoying a fish dinner, keeping what you like, what you need. But you take 10 bags of fillets and you put them in the freezer, 6 months later, those fillets are not
Right.
going to be what you had that day.
Right.
So, you know, I try to explain that. And if they want to keep catching them, it's perfectly within their legal limit. Let's go, load
Right.
them up. But 9 times out of 10, they're going to go, man, that's a great idea. And then, you know, the picture is what they take home with them. The memories is what they take home with them. They don't have memories of these bags of fillets. So you get an awesome photo of them on the side of the boat or there with this fish that's about to swim away, and you send that to them when it's over. They frame that up and put it on their wall, and
Yeah.
they sit there and look at that every day.
Oh, I guarantee it.
It's worth way more than a bag of fillets.
Yeah, if you post a picture with a badass redfish or a big ass trout on the side of your kayak, and you fillet that trout, right? You don't even mention that it's a trout, and you just you're holding up a Ziploc bag with fillets, you're not gonna get as much likes as you're gonna get
You're not
holding
going to
that
become
fish.
an influencer.
Yeah, guys, you know what I mean? Do you that same that same thing you're doing with the trout and reds. If somebody were to come and say, hey, you know what, I want to go for a meat haul, do you say, you know what, that's not me, or do you, hey, you know what, let's go catch a whole bunch of drum, you know? Because it didn't affect the drum. Right?
No, and that's a good option. It's always there.
Really?
And yes, but you know, when it comes to that conversation, I'll give them a phone number to somebody who will provide that service for them.
Right.
I'd be perfectly happy to do that.
2022, in closing, everybody's just like, man, I want to keep on seeing this show. I want to go see the Cowboys. Somebody posted it was 7-0. Somebody update the comments. It cannot be 7-0 still. It has to be, that zero has to have turned to something else by now, right? You know, we always start off good, you know, and
I don't want to hurt any.
It's okay. The jerseys
fans.
look
It's
cool.
Cowboy country down
the
here, man.
the caps look cool. You know,
gotta be careful.
everybody wants that kind of stuff, right? 2022 in closing. What can we expect?
Man, I got a cool project going on
Out of Slowride.
Yeah. So I've been guiding a long time and had a lot of fun. Enjoyed every bit of it, but I want to be an influencer.
Finally.
So I've created. We've actually put a little teaser out there. If you follow along my Facebook and Instagram and YouTube.
What is it? What's the Facebook?
My Facebook?
Yeah.
Dean Thomas.
Dean Thomas. Instagram?
At Slowride TX.
There you go.
And YouTube is Dean Thomas. So my son, I'm actually working with my son on this project. Really cool. Excited to work with him. He is a videographer, producer of content for YouTube. So he works with companies. He makes how-to videos on different
What's his name?
products.
Dean Thomas as well?
Dean Thomas Jr.
Oh, yeah.
We call him DJ.
Okay.
And we actually have quite a few episodes to start out our season. I've already been produced. I posted one just last week that was on the Tarpon 140, just on my favorite kayak and why I use it and how it performs and why it performs. We have a pilot that is completed for the fishing show. We have safety videos that are completed. We have great ideas. We're going to do destinations. We're going to go fish with other teammates of mine. We're going to go to Port Mansfield. We're going to go to Galveston. I'm going to have numerous characters. Ted Geyer, Tom Bogue, have them guys come out and fish
Eugene
with me.
Mora.
Eugene.
Wilderness guy.
He should come down.
Yeah.
And so we're going to put together a fishing series that's going to be produced for YouTube, and that's our big project. For
Kayak fishing focused YouTube.
It's going to be a lot of both, boat and kayak.
Okay.
But my first love is always kayaks. That's where we're starting right now, and I think that kayaking makes much more interesting topics for discussion.
Yeah. There's a lot of unsaid stuff about kayak fishing that people don't know.
Oh,
you know, especially with the safety stuff.
There's always new people coming to the sport that want to learn. There's people that have been there. You can always improve on your skills. You know, even as long as I've been on the water, you know, I don't consider to know it all. Every day you're out there, you pick up on something else. So yeah, really looking forward to that. Check out the YouTube, look at the first episode. And we were talking about it last night. In the next 2 days, we're going to drop the pilot and we're going to go full blast. And so we're going to spend the fall. We're going to film constantly.
You going to bring in that dude from Spooled Life?
I think Captain Ram.
Yeah, there you go.
Captain Ram.
Man, we can't say that. There's gonna be people that get mad for just saying that. You know what I mean? We can say it in the metaverse, right? But not right now in real life.
Captain
14-3. People are saying, what quarter? Somebody tell me the quarter quick. First person to tell me the quarter, we're gonna send you another Spooled Life Live swag pack.
Who got 14?
14 Cowboys, I'm assuming. 14-3. Yeah. First person to tell me the quarter of the Dallas Cowboys game is going to get sent a Spooled Life Live swag pack.
Dallas
Chris
Cowboys.
Castro is the winner.
Cowboy fans deserve a win this week after the beatdown they
Yeah, they make good caps and they make good jerseys and stuff. You know, they make good polos.
They got to score some points, though.
Yeah. Oh, they're a football team?
It's just like that fishing thing, man. You don't score some points, you ain't going to be there next week.
Chris Castro is the winner of the
Oh,
Spooled Life
nice.
Live
Cool.
Swag
What's
Pack,
up,
fellow
Chris?
kayaker, right?
Oh yeah, man, Chris, he takes the game to a whole new level, man.
Takes it to the next level.
For sure.
Right.
New G.
Guys, it's been a hell of a show, but we're about 24 minutes over.
Dang, I want to come back and do another one.
I told you at the beginning of the show, before it started, I
There's
guarantee
never
you,
enough time.
Juan Carlos is in the house. Rob Stown, RHS, is in the house. That there was going to have to be a part 2. You know?
For sure,
There's
man.
always is, man. We don't
Yeah.
have too much time. We want to give as much info as possible to the Spooled Life fam, right?
Yep. And the Karbach.
And the
Guys.
Karbach, right? We're drinking it. Lemon lime twangers. Say that 5 times.
I'm not even going to try.
Say it 5 times. We'll give you a new spooled pack. No, I'm just playing. Calm down,
First
guys.
person to type it 5 times.
Right? It's been a hell of a show. The flyer for the next show will be out this weekend. Next weekend. We're Sunday. Next weekend, guys. It's going to be a hell of a show. We're bringing in some new people. We're bringing in some new companies. We're coming to a close on
Dang.
2022, man.
Oh, yeah. But we're coming to the best fishing of the year.
You love it? You love
Oh,
that
man.
wintertime fishing?
October, November, December is as good as it gets.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, maybe by the end of the year, we come back, follow up, good little fishing report, what's going on.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Do you target speckled trout during the wintertime?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
And so what happens, not to keep this going too long.
No, let's do it all night.
But we're getting at that time of year where speckled trout and redfish start to intermingle. On those shallow
Oh.
flats, it's a 50-50 chance to get that trout or that red, where in the summertime, the reds will still inhabit the shallow flats, and the speckled trout tend to be along the channels, a little bit deeper water. But it comes to that season where they really start to intermingle, and yeah, it's...
Talking about the Cowboys game, who do you think is the more aggressive fish, a redfish or a speckled trout?
The trout, the smaller redfish, a small redfish compared to a small trout, the redfish is always going to be a little more aggressive, a little tougher. But when it comes to big speckled trout, when you get speckled trout up to 23, 25 inches, that is a challenging fish to land. They are more acrobatic, they
Right.
slash, and they will throw that hook back at you. Redfish are pure power. They're just strong. They got
Yeah.
that big tail, and they know how to use it. So it's hard to compare those two. They're very different. But you get that big old trout, 25-incher that comes up and just tail walking, and they throw that mouth open, and they'll throw that lure back at you.
Yeah.
So it's a different.
What do you want to catch, a 30-inch trout or a 30-inch red?
30-inch trout.
30-inch trout, right?
Just they're so hard to come by.
Yeah.
You can catch 30-inch red.
And that's media.
right.
Media does that.
Hey, I landed a speckled trout on a fly just a couple
Oh,
weeks
really?
ago. I
Wow.
didn't. It was hot, and I didn't take the time to lay it on the tape measure because I wanted to release it as soon
Was
as
it
possible.
side casted?
It was blind casted.
Oh, really?
I was dropping a fly on a little drop off. We were
Okay.
walking a sandbar, throwing into sand holes, and I actually got a beautiful picture of it where it's laying against the rod, so I can go to that rod. I just haven't done that yet to get a good estimate, but it was probably in the 28-inch range.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Hell of a
That's-
catch.
That was one of my greater accomplishments of the last couple months. Beautiful. So just one quick story. That speckled trout, I landed it on the fly, brought it in, snapped a couple pictures. As I was reviving it, this tail starts coming out of its mouth. And the pictures are on my Facebook if you go scroll it up. And the tail, so I wanted to release this fish. And so I grabbed the tail of this fish and I pulled it out of that speckled trout's mouth because I was still trying to swim it around. So it had in its mouth a speckled trout that was like 8
Oh, yeah.
inches long. And as I'm standing there, I'm holding the trout that came out of the fish's mouth and still swimming the big one around. And the trout in my hand starts kicking. It was still alive.
Oh, wow.
It was in the trout's stomach. It was still, it didn't release alive, but it was still kicking. And so it had just ate that trout, kicking in his stomach, and then he ate a fly.
No, he was dead, Mr. Thomas. But you revived him with your energy. I guarantee it, dude. With your energy and your passion.
From the metaverse.
There you go. With your energy and passion of fishing, you revived that trout.
I just laid hands upon it.
Yeah, man.
But no, so yeah, you never know what's going to happen out there. I
And that's the
that
best
is how
part of it.
crazy cool it is.
Yep.
Exactly.
Let's give a shout out to your sponsors.
My sponsors: Costa Sunglasses, AFCO Apparel, Shimano Reels, Wilderness Systems Fishing Kayaks, Dargle Boats. All my people.
Right.
They
You can
take
find
care.
all of those here, for the exception of Dargle Boats, right? At Roy's Bait and Tackle, unless somebody's cruising with a Dargle boat in the back of their truck, you might want to see it. You might see it in the back of in the parking lot, right? Thank you all so much. I'm gonna let y'all go. I know y'all want to go check the barbecue pit. The barbecue's probably all burned up by now, but it's okay. It was well worth it, right? Like I said earlier, the flyer will be out next week. If I could get it done midweek, it's just a one-man show with the support of our sponsors. Roy's Bait and Tackle, right? Here in Corpus Christi. Real Sportswear, Karbach Brewery, and Sarge Custom Rods. Without their support, we would be sitting in the living room watching the Cowboys play,
Eating burnt barbecue.
and drinking some non-flavored alcoholic beverage that doesn't matter, right?
Well, thanks for having me on the show, man.
It's
I really
been a hell of a
appreciate
show,
it.
Mr. Dean.
Enjoyed it.
Thank
and
you
looking
so
forward
much.
to next time.
Did we forget anything? Anything major?
If anybody out there, man, drop a comment, questions for next time, things you want to hear about. I love to hear from the people.
There's a whole bunch of them. There's a whole bunch of questions that we missed. It wasn't intentional. If it was a question towards me, if it was a question towards Mr. Dean, we'll go back and
we'll
respond.
take a note of them and we'll follow up on the next show.
For sure. Thank you all so much. I always forget how to do this, but thank you all so much. And in tuning in, we will
Appreciate it,
see
guys.
you all next time.